In this video, I'm going to share with you the way I go about doing through dominoes in my drawer boxes. Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Jason Bent, and this week I'm going to show you how you can go about doing through dominoes. If you want to add a little bit of cool contrast to some of your projects, this is a fantastic way to do it, and it's really, really easy. And I'm going to go ahead and show you, and let's just get into it. Okay, so let's pretend for a moment that this is going to be the edge of a drawer box. I'm just doing everything here as an example. What we have is some white oak, and maybe I want to add a little bit of contrast by adding some walnut dominoes, and these are actually the dominoes from last week's video. If you want to find out how I go about making dominoes like this, I'll go ahead and put a link up in the video description now. But this is what we're going to use. These are 8mm dominoes, which are actually larger than what I would do because this is only about 5/8 of an inch or 16mm thick. So typically I'm going to go with a 6mm domino, but since I have everything ready to go, we're going to go ahead and use these. And so the idea behind this is my front, this is my side. By placing that tenon inside of here, it's going to give that joint a lot of strength while adding a really cool feature to the side for when you open it up. You'll see that contrast. So let's go ahead and start making our cuts. All right, so for this being the front and this being the bottom, this is the reference face for the plate. This is the reference for the plate because they have to be in alignment with each other for everything to line up. So this is the front. It's going to have plunged holes into it. The side is going to have through holes. And so we'll go ahead and make those now. So before I start, I want to make sure that I have the settings correct on my domino. This is 16mm thick material. So over here on the side, I'm going to set it to 16 in this window. I'm going to push down the plate, lock that down, and we're good. The next thing is I want to make sure that it's on the tight setting, which it is now. And then I'm going to go ahead and set this to 25. I'm not going to do any layout lines or anything like that because I'm actually just going to use the detents that are on the bottom to reference each edge, and that will give me the spacing that I want from each edge. And so I'll go ahead and make my two end plunge cuts, and then we'll do our vertical cuts. All right, so there you go. I've got my two mortises cut. Keep in mind that your spacing of the holes is completely dependent on the size of the box. For the demonstration purposes, I'm just going 37mm down from one side and the other because that's the measurement on the stops, and it makes very easy reference and no need to do any markings. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and put in our next board. Get that clamped down, okay? And so now I'm going to be actually doing vertical plunges, and it's going to go all the way through. And to do that, I'm going to go ahead and add my little base here to add some stability. Tighten it down pretty close, and then I want to make sure that everything is flat. It should be good right there. Go ahead and tighten that down. Flip my fence back down because I still want my plate to be referencing off of this face. And now all we're going to do is we're going to plunge down until our cut goes all the way through. And we are going to be using the same stops. All right, so we've got our side that has our through holes. We have our end piece that the holes line up just like that. And there's a couple ways that you can do this. You can actually just put the domino through from the outside. I actually don't like doing that. When I'm assembling these, I'll glue in here first, put this domino in, following the same gluing technique. And I'll do that on both sides, front and back. And then I'll go ahead and apply my glue very liberally to the ends, to the dominoes themselves, and I'll even put a little bit of glue in these holes here. Now, before I do this, I want to show you something. As you can see here, these protrude past. That's what we want because we want to flush cut or sand those back later. So once I put my glue on, I'm just going to take my side panel, and just like that, I now have my through dominoes. And there's a closer shot of what I was telling you about them protruding out. That's not a problem. I'm not actually going to glue this because I could use this scrap wood for something else, but I will go ahead and flush cut them back. You could just use something as simple as this. This is just a inexpensive little flush cut trim saw. And that'll give you a pretty close to flush. And then if you're like me and you're really bad at it, and make some cuts because you're not going straight, that's fine. Everything will just sand out. Depending on how much it's actually protruding, if you plan for it, a random orbital sander will take that down in no time. You can also use a flush trim bit and just run it across the side. That's another great technique. I'll go ahead and cut this one and I'll sand it down real quick just so you guys can see the finished product. That one was a little bit better. So let me go ahead and sand it smooth. Just to give you kind of an example of what it can look like with the finish on it, I'm just wiping this down with mineral spirits, but it will get the point across. And so now you have a nice white oak side with some walnut through dominoes. And it can really make your project look nice. All right, so for those of you that have been asking me if I would do a video showing how I go about making my through dominoes, like this. See if it'll, whoop, there you go. That's how I do it. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Please don't think that you can only do something like this with a domino, right? This whole idea, you could do the exact same thing with dowels if you wanted just a simple round hole look. You could glue it together with screws and bury that screw a little bit and just do plugs. Overall, the technique is going to be pretty much the same. And when you open up your drawer, you know, you can see stuff like this. You can put multiple, you can put one at the top, one in the center. You can really do whatever you want. But that is how I do it. It's really easy. If you have a domino and you never tried it, give it a try. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with how simple of a process it really is. If you guys would like to recommend certain videos that you'd like to see me do, whether it's using Festool stuff or other stuff that I have in my shop, please do not hesitate to send me a message or leave those down in the comments section below. And if you guys want to see everything else that I'm doing, please head over to my website, bentswoodworking.com, and you can kind of see everything that I'm doing there on my website. It's kind of the one-stop shop for Bent's Woodworking and more. That is going to do it for this video, everybody. Thank you so much, as always, for watching and all of your continued support. But until next time, get out in the shop, try something new, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.